Namaskar Bharat. Hello, good evening. This is Preeti Chaudhary here, your host, and it is a Monday evening, which means it is time for an episode of Veteran Spotlight. It gives me immense pleasure to bring a very dear friend of mine to today's episode, Squadron Leader Arun Kumar. Him and I go back a long way. Right after he was transitioning from the forces into the civil life, and so many learnings, so many things, so many memories together that it is an absolute pleasure to host him here today. So, once again, Namaskar, hello, good evening. Welcome to this episode of Veteran Spotlight with me, your host Preeti Chaudhary, and my guest, my dear friend, Squadron Leader Arun Kumar. Let's pull him into the stream. Hello, Arun. Good evening. How are you?
Hello and good evening, Preeti. How are you? I hope
I am
you're hearing me sound and clear and you're very well. Lovely
absolutely
evening today.
spot on. I can hear you loud and clear. And I am raring to go because this is some conversation, bits and pieces I know of, but the audience today doesn't know much about that. So it is my pleasure to get this conversation kick-started with you, Arun, so that there are immense learnings and insights derived from this for our veterans, brothers and sisters. So, with that, let us put things into context. But even before that, a quick reminder for all the audience, this is a conversation and a dialogue. Please make sure that you put your comments and questions into the comments section of this LinkedIn Live Veteran Spotlight with Squadron Leader Arun Kumar, with me, Preeti Chaudhary, your host for this evening. So, to put things in context, Arun, basically, tell us a little bit about your background and upbringing. It is always nice to know the human from behind the army person, the air force person, the navy person. So tell us who you are, where you're from, and a little bit more on you. Over to you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. And I would just quickly, tell all of that you've asked. But before I begin, I think there are a few people who have joined, and I know them personally. I want to give a big shout out to them. One being obviously my gang from college. Specifically, used to call them Zalis, but now they're all very well placed. Vikas specifically, who gave me the bike to check the result when I got selected through a fast track selection, Air Force entrance. And all of those people who are connected with me on LinkedIn, whether from my bits group, my college, big shout out to all of them. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, that's an obvious question. Everyone wants to see what's behind the face and what's the person holds. My story doesn't, only the story of my being in the armed forces doesn't start with me. If I recollect correctly, my great grandfather was in the army. He fought for Battle of Basra in the Allied forces, and then my grandfather as well was in the army. It was my father's generation who took a sidestep, and my father actually ventured into uh, the state Delhi Transport Corporation. I have lived, born and brought up in Delhi, but I went for my engineering to Rajasthan, the University of Rajasthan, and wherein I met some amazing friends, uh, colleagues from whom I learned, and amazing. I mean, the teachers that showed me the way, and in fact. Uh, elaborated what a person should actually become, whether or not he is in the air force or he's a serving in the civil part of the world. That being said, uh, since I'm currently also now based in Delhi, I live in Delhi. Uh, my wife actually serves the government as a finance professional. She is otherwise a beautiful artist. I mean, we should, if time permits, we should get and check out her page as well. And this is not a plug. I'm a big fan. That's one. That's one thing I am proud. Uh, and then meanwhile, like I said, there was a fast track selection process. I think there's some. Give me a second. There's some background noise from someone.
Sure, not a problem.
I request who people who have joined. Can you put yourself on mute if there's an option? Okay. Anyways, let me continue. So there was this fast track selection process from the Air Force being conducted in Jaipur, and it was like all placements. I mean, I'll tell you, before this placement, there were 7 rejections, not for me, for my a lot of my friends, very close to me. So then we decided, okay, let's go together and then attempt the test one day prior. What happened is, in fact, a lot of people from my college attempted, and in the whole campus, there were about 2,500 people who attempted the test. And out of those people, I remember it very clearly because it's very dear to my heart. And and then about 55 people were selected, out of which 3 were from my college and 2 joined the Air Force. So that's out. But how do I get to know my result when somebody else checked up on the website, and then he called me and said, "Okay, is that your number, Arun? Tera number aa gaya hai." So I said, "My number, okay." I called up Vikas, and then I got his bike and then ran to the college where the test happened. And then, and I went unprepared because I did not know what would happen. And they took all the 3 rounds for the first preliminary site, uh, to which I qualified, and then I was called for the SSB. So that's
Right.
the part wherein the struggle wherein you give a test, you wait for result, and go into different rounds of selection, and then crack them. After my SSB was cleared, there was the usual medical that happens with all of us, and there's a lot of anxieties around whether someone will clear the medical test or not, because there's a merit after that. And then my date to join the academy, and that's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
part. Date to
And
join
hang
the
on
academy.
just a
Okay,
moment, if you
yeah,
will just
sure,
hang on
sure.
to that for a bit, because you said your dad took a sort of a detour and he went into government job and this that. How about any siblings? Are you an only child? Do you have any more siblings?
I'll come to that. I'll
Okay,
come to
you
that.
will. Right.
Come to
Because
that.
I would like to know, yeah, the competition bit, the fighting, the sort of growing up together and all of those things. So back to you, Arun. Yep.
Yeah. I'll come to that. And this is part of the story. Very, very interesting. So, okay.
Sure.
So
Go ahead.
the interesting part was, which date will the academy ask us to join in, and we start running there in our whites and our trunks on our head. So it was 5th of July, and thank God, and literally thank God that my exams ended up on 4th of July. So you see, 4th of July, 6 o'clock in the evening, I finished my exam. 5th of July, 10 o'clock, I was there in Air Force Academy. And by, 1500 hours, I was running around the flight cadets mess with my colleagues. I remember Shivam there being acting like a senior, but then actually he was one of the cadet with us. He fooled us the first day, and then we, till now also we pull his leg around while we speak of this. Yeah, so we are 3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are younger to me. The youngest one, runs his own bar consultant business by the name Bar Chemistry. You can also search him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The younger to me is actually trending news editor in one of the um, you know financial market analyzer, I would say, just to keep the name
Mm-hmm.
hidden. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so all of us, we had this dream to join the army, also because we lived very close to the Delhi cantonment,
Mm-hmm.
and the way we saw trucks passing by, the military men moving here and there, and we occasionally used to wish them Jai Hind, and that rush to salute, and people who were there in the uniform was a kicking factor, which always was there in my mind. But then life happens, and then you move to engineering, thinking of that, because these were the two primary professions people choose. traditionally. Now there are more venues being opened. So that's how I grew up near the cantonment, looking at black ambassadors, so that sometime in some day I would also sit in them. That was the story. That's yeah.
Lovely. You know what? The trucks that you saw passing in that cantonment, they're all made in Jabalpur, where I live.
Correct. And I
They are the
agree.
Shaktimans and the Nishans and the Jongas. They are all made here in Vehicle Factory, Jabalpur.
Correct, correct,
Right?
and that's how our first conversation, triggered, where I said I live very close to the cantonment and I'm from
Yeah.
the Air Force, and you said I just share boundaries with the cantonment almost sort of, and it's a big cantonment in the Jabalpur as well.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. So wonderful with that. Now tell us a little bit more, in terms of all the bondings and the camaraderie during the course at the Air Force Station, and then your deployment a little bit, Arun, because that is something which is sort of setting the tone to make you from a cadet to an officer sort. So I would like to know, and probably that would be your first transition from, say, a young cadet boy to an officer and a gentleman kind of a thing. So take us down that journey, please. Over to you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So like I said, 5th July, I entered the Air Force Academy Flight Cadets Mess, and I saw there was one guy, in whites, taking note of everyone, entering all the details, and I thought, this guy must be senior, and then I should wish him before we move ahead. And he checked up all my belongings, took my mobile phone, my data storage. Things, and even the civil clothes that we used to have. He said, put it aside, take out all the instructions that we gave to, bring in whites along with you before you get issued with the uniform. So, and then by the time we had lunch and we started, we were asked to fall in the squadron. My squadron was Yakino. I saw the same guy standing next to me, and that was Shivam Rathore. I said, I thought you were senior. He said, no, no, I arrived one day prior. And that's like, and that was a game that he played for one full day, and disguised himself as a senior and bossed around. But then now, and now he's part of us, and we run around the academy, do mischievous act, get punished by the senior, not sort of punished, but then indoctrinated kind of by the seniors. So that's all great, and that's how great camaraderie begins when you encounter your first cross country. And that's about I think 2-3 weeks into the academy, you start to get a feel of, you don't have to run about say 1 or 2 kilometers. It is now more than 15 kilometers at a stretch, and that becomes a habit every Sunday. And you see your weight going down every day, your pants getting loose. The tailor also stitches them a little tight, so that he knows that by the end of the fifth month you will be 10 kgs down. And that happens with a lot of people. So that builds up. And the way, there are portions in the academy that are barred for juniors to go in the starting. Let's say the ice cream counter, and if one of us pays for that ice cream, the night's ice cream, and he goes there and sneaks in one ice cream, and then not only him, it's like one for all and all for one. Not only him, the whole course gets rugged out like anything the whole night, and then the next morning you are expected to be there in the parade ground at 5 o'clock sharp. And that happens because we live very close, and we uh, take it, when a mistake is done by one guy, we take it with full heart and with full camaraderie, that at least somebody enjoyed.
Absolutely. That
So
is the
today
whole
you do.
spirit of, yeah.
Yeah, so today you do it to me, tomorrow I'll do it to you.
Absolutely. And that's
Anyways,
how it
that's
all goes,
that's part
right?
of life.
Yeah. Tit for tat. And that is how this
So
bonhomie and this brotherhood, sisterhood sort of
correct,
develop. Yeah.
correct.
You're saying something.
Yeah, I was saying that this portion is Air Force Academy for about 6 months, and then
Hmm.
we move out to specific branches. Like the engineering people, they move to Air Force Technical College in Bangalore for one year, and
Hmm.
to the fact that I am also postgraduate diploma in aeronautical engineering is because of we were there in Air Force Technical College. So we went through the routine study academics, the rotor and fixed wing and turbofan and turbojet, the differences around that. But the seniors were already present there. They have also gone through the 6 months system and they were now the seniors there. And this set of seniors is different from the seniors you get in Air Force Academy. So, they've got new people to ragdow and get their own thing done. So, very famous place in AFTC is a road that is filled with stones and pebbles and whatnot. Uh, you can understand that it is not smooth as it sounds. So there are the actual training by senior starts. The training by the drill instructors, the parade instructors, is carried out in the parade ground. So it's like twice you are between the classes. Classes are sandwiched in between the training by the seniors and the training by the drill instructors. So that's how 1 year of aeronautical engineering goes by, and then you earn your postgraduate diploma there. While we do it, uh, depending on your interest, someone might have a better interest in avionics. Somebody would like the radar systems piece of it. Somebody might be very good while he's taking exams in networking and network security, and then they ask you what sort of stream would you like to be in. uh, I chose the first part. I chose the network and security operations. The second part I chose radars, and then the third was the aircraft. So luckily, my first choice I got, and there was one lady officer with us who wrote all the three choices Mirage, and I should name her Anushka Loomis if you're watching. So she got Mirage 2000 to get trained on. So 1.5 years training, and then there's a 6 months of training which is specialized, and you go there, learn about the stream that you had chosen. Especially, you pick up a lot of things while in your aeronautical engineering, and then you move on to learn the specifics of the trade. So after this long 2 years of training and so to say the chill period, then you get your postings. So what happens? Uh, Units put in demands of how many people they would require in the coming months, and then the headquarters plan your postings. So I thought maybe I'll go to a decent place. Most of the postings are decent with respect to the Air Force, but I was sent to Assam, a far off place near the Himalayan foothills, and I landed up there. First of all, when I told that I'm posted to so and so place, my parents, they said, "Are you posted to Myanmar?" So I said, "No, it is within India, but it's not visible on the map. So you'll have to figure. I'll have to figure it out when I reach there." So I started. I took my train to Guwahati, and then from Guwahati, I actually boarded the army convoy to reach the place. So it's like I sat there. The convoy I sat around 5:30, and then it is maybe around. Okay, so 5:30 we're sitting, the convoy is moving, we're going slowly. Convoy has to maintain a similar speed because it is regulated and so that everyone stays together and the convoy remains convoy. Uh, so by 11:30, I get to know that we have only 30 kilometers left to reach the place. Okay, I say okay, it's been a long journey. Let's sit for another 30 kilometers. We reach there, and then the convoy stops, and everyone says, sir, destination is here. We can get down. Okay. So when I get down, I get to know, my unit is another 15 kilometers, and I'll have to call up call up them, and then they may send a vehicle, or you'll have to arrange it by yourself. Okay. So I informed my senior, the immediate senior that was already there. He helped me a lot. Uh, Correct. I mean, incidentally, we are name types. Sqn Ldr Arun Kumar Singh. He's now director in one of the largest NGO in India, Educate Girls. And then I reached there. He again cushioned me, taught me how is it different from training and the way field operates. which is like you have to be hands-on and leading from the front. All the men are looking up to you. In fact, not in terms of how technically you are proficient, in terms of how you behave, how you walk, and inspire people. So that's where,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there, just about 22 and a half years of age, and there were about 80 people reporting into me, varying
Uh-huh.
from the age bracket of 18 to, yeah, I think 52 or something. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
different, people set of people that you have to manage. Some people, they are so mature that you
Mm-hmm.
understand them, and sometimes you are not mature, and some people are just out of school. So the instructions has to be conveyed the way it everyone understands clearly, and they follow you and they have confidence in you that this guy, whatever this guy is saying, it will work technically and it will be a good solution for the long-term strategic operations of the unit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's how I betted. Like we all are using slick and slim devices. I have operated an operating system which has 160 MB, which had 160 MB of hard disk. Can you imagine? 160 MB is nothing. So that was a wall tall computer, and it had Unix on it. So that was the time I've operated computers, and now we are seeing IoT devices and wristbands that can speak to you, talk to you, and pick up your call. So
Absolutely.
that's generally
Inspirational. Yeah.
this is
So,
generational shift of the technology. The people read in books. There are first generation, second generation, third and fifth. I've seen at least from the second to fifth generation.
absolutely, you're right. And it is changing at like breakneck sort of speed. So it's very difficult to even keep a tab nowadays. Tell me, Arun,
Correct.
any stories stand out from you from this deployment stage? Because I am going to be then moving on to the next phase. So something that is stuck with you or stayed with you for up until now. Any funny story, any emotional thing, anything at all, whatever
So
stands
yeah,
out.
that's I don't share actually sensitive stories. I don't want
No,
to
that's fine.
demotivate people. That's okay. But that
Uh-huh.
in near my office in Assam, that unit where I was posted, there
Mm-hmm.
was a coconut tree. Okay, a very
Okay.
good coconut tree. People used to have those coconuts and drink water also. But what
Mm-hmm.
happens if I go back to the history of this unit? This unit was
Mm-hmm.
actually part of a jungle. Okay,
Okay.
obviously cantonments are supposed to be outside the city, so they were planned near to the hills so that there's a static this and that. So now what happens? Jungles. So elephants are there. So elephant, very very intelligent animal, and very they don't forget. So if an elephant knows that my water resource is this way, he will go this way only. So
Mm-hmm.
while our station was in between, they used to cut through the fencing, the wall, and go through once in a while from the station towards the water resource. Okay, you can't program. He's not AI that you can program and change the mind. For him, the path is there, even for his children. And, so there was this coconut tree at which the whole you know elephant and the elephant family stopped for having coconut, and I clicked
Mm-hmm.
it, and I clicked the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So I clicked the photograph, and I sensed it that he saw me. He saw me. In fact, the guard on duty also saw me clicking his photograph. The next day, I
Mm-hmm.
see the coconut tree was cracked like a sugar cane. So he was so angry clicking the photograph. So that's one thing that I remember from that unit that stays with me till now. And anyone who asks me, they never mess with an elephant, especially a wild elephant, and who's trying to cross paths, and you don't click a photograph.
Amazing,
That's
amazing
one incident.
insight.
That's one incident. Yeah. So let
And
me
I
just
am a travel. Yeah,
oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I know. You've been to so many places and countries. I know you've been you
No,
were
not
there.
that. I was saying that I will have to remember this advice. If an elephant crosses my path, don't take pictures, says my friend Arun. Back to you. You were saying
Yes,
something.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. No, I was thinking of quoting an incident, but then that will
Yeah.
be too
No,
difficult
go
for
ahead.
people to digest. There was
No, go ahead.
another place near that. You'll have to go there, and you obviously when you go out of the unit, you will go with armed guards, and you are yourself armed. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, one of the person they went with full security. The place was with laced with landmines, and he and those people actually lost their lives in the operation. So that was the kind of place we were living in, and it was surrounded by all uh, the Ulfa terrorist area. So let's just
Yeah.
stop at that, and let's not
Okay.
make. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. So you know what? You knew that you have a sort of a set tenure in the forces because you went into SSB and all of that. So now my next thing is coming on to the transition bit. So what were you deciding? Did you think you will come out at the end of the 10 years, or you would take an extension? Were you planning your transition? What were you doing? What was going on through your mind? Please tell us. Over to you, Arun.
I
Thank you.
yeah, I think the word that you said at the last, what was going in my mind, I think mindset is the one that takes you wherever you plan to go. Provided that I was very clear that this is a short service tenure because I filled it. Nobody forced me to fill in. I filled it because I thought it's for 5 years. And by the time I landed in academy, I got to know that it's for 10 years. Like, okay, that's fine. I mean, 5 and 10 doesn't make uh, a difference. So then what I did, I tried preparing myself.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I saw the opportunity to enroll myself in MS from BITS Pilani in software
Yep.
systems. I utilized my time and added a master's degree to my profile. And then when
Okay.
that happened, because I was in network and security operations, I picked this subject. And when I picked this subject, I mastered it over time, spending some time, finishing it uh, so that I can, easily uh, transition to a career outside corporate. But that story doesn't stop here. I think there's some
Mm-hmm.
noise from somebody. Uh, yeah. So that story doesn't stop here. What I did is researched about what are the positions are available there and what are the grades that we match up to and can be absorbed. Also, because in my time, in fact, all my course mates would agree that the policy to apply for extension was there, but the policy to apply for a permanent commission was not there. In fact, it is there right now. Uh, you call it luck or whatever. I was destined to come out, so I came out, and then that's how I also planned my transition very carefully. Coming to how I did it, I think I have written a lot to tell people who are watching, whether they are veterans, whether they are in some other field vertical in the civil, and they want to transition into cybersecurity.
So
Should I
Arun, in that, yeah, Arun, in
yeah,
that, can you
definitely.
also build in your, basically corporate world, academic, professional accomplishments, anything else that you did to sort of upgrade yourself? If you can build all of that into that, I think it'll be perfect. Yeah, go for it.
Right, right. So let me pick up the academic maybe accomplishment or certification that one can look at while transitioning. All of the armed forces people, they are offered PRC, a free release course before you jump into the corporate world. What kind of what it does it like it orients you in terms of how the business functions. What are the business verticals that combine together to make it a successful business. Everyone is there to make profits, not lose. So there are different verticals working together to generate profits and also do some corporate social responsibility. So the PRC tells you about that, orients you, but that it cannot guarantee you a job. I mean, nobody can, but then still you get a base out of it wherein you prepare yourself as a launch on the launch pad, and then you go into the corporate world accordingly. What I personally did, because I was into network and security operations, and this was a field that I chose long back ago that I will continue to function in this particular vertical, uh, wherever, maybe in technical or a techno managerial position. What I did some certifications. I started attending meetups in the NCR. One of the meetups is actually the OWASP null meetups. They happen very regularly in NCR. In fact, uh, almost about 17, 18 chapters are running across India, wherein people can join in, share knowledge, learn, look out for job opportunities, network with people, and be in touch with the profession actually as a whole. That was one. And there's this meetup.com where you can meet up and talk with like-minded people and understand what is happening, what is actually you are missing or what is his missing. You share your thoughts, you add on to, 1 plus 1 is always 2. It's not a minus number. So that's how you connect. And the baseline is you network, but you network with the right people. That's what I did. On the professional certifications, I took up information security management system, which is like every organization needs to maintain and comply to, almost every organization. Then there is business continuity. If I speak in Fauji terms, guys who are listening, you maintain your war plan, the corporate maintains its business continuity plan. So that's like almost similar, but with some money attached to it. You have to continue the business even in the crisis. So you apply it everywhere and anywhere. You apply it to people. You apply it to processes. You apply it to technologies. That all the three verticals, business continuity does apply. The other one I took up is the certified ethical hacker, which is not a kind of certification that I would recommend as on date, but I would recommend if you want to go past that application tracking system that the HR runs, and they have those set words. If the guy has CEH, take him in. You don't know what he knows, but then take him in. That's one point that I will like to tell everyone. The other gold standard of certification, I think I call it gold standard because as on date, I think there are about 2,300 to 2,400 people who are CISSP certified. And again, I don't say that if you're certified, you possess the right skills. These certifications, they make you reach the interview table. They can only get you past the ATS system. They can only get you past the scrutiny of an eye. But it is who when you start speaking and you say the right word and you define a problem and apply the star methodology while answering a question, and you are a person who has done your SWOT analysis very nicely, you will be able to I'm giving you all the jargons. First of all, you will be able to pass through that interview, uh, maybe let's say not in the first time, second time, third time, but you are at it. You're not doing anything wrong if you do all of this.
Right. So, when it comes to the forces and when veterans, our brothers and sisters, are transitioning, 70% of the time people are still thinking about these same stereotypical roles like security, admin, supply
Correct.
chain, operation, logistics.
Right.
What would you say to the veterans about opportunities other than your stereotypical ones and your experience of yourself breaking that mold and going into a different field? Tell us from your experience, Arun, please, and please be as candid and as mirror showing as you want to be, because it is a fact that there are so many other opportunities. We just need to sort of have our eyes and ears and our hearts open for that. So I would like to hear from you, my friend, because you personally have definitely chosen a different, a stereotypical path and not the stereotypical path. Over to you.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much. But I would say that I'm not the first one. There have been many others who have taken the path of, so to say, this non-stereotypical roles. Apart from being in administration, security, and physical security. Not saying that these roles are not, that worthy, but then most of the people would opt for these roles coming from, especially the army background or Navy or Air Force background. But what I would like to highlight here is, if you look back uh, to your SWOT analysis and your strengths and weaknesses, I think people who are in service and people who are transitioning, I have separate advice for both of them, and I've written it down. I will read out for all of you, so that you can also maybe write it down, take some notes if required. So first and foremost, for both the people, whether you are in service or transitioning, network. Like I said, network with the right people. So I'm very thankful to the call I made to Preeti. and joined in LinkedIn Local, which helped me to a lot of extent, understanding how this culture functions. What are the people, what are the words people are using? Because, like I said, war plan in army and business continuity in civil. So it's actually similar, but then different words. So that is first, network. If you're in service, do not skip any in-service courses. And why I say that, because these are courses which are designed with a lot of research. You may think that, for my profession, it is not relevant, but then these are research topic and they teach you a way of thinking, right? Even if the minor SD, if you take up, that's your service writing skill. It so helps you in formulating documents in the civil that they come out so good and so better, and they beat out the best of the the MBA colleges of the world. The third one I would say for in-service people is, whatever you're doing, put your heart and soul into it. Automate and innovate. Why I say that? So you'll find a lot of things which are manual in the courses. You can automate it, and not automating doesn't mean only technology. You can innovate. For me personally, I've given two products to the was one being the call data record analyzer, and the other being bulk SMS application Vayu Sandesh. Uh, and then the you all should understand the why behind the operation and what if analysis of the operations. Because if you are engulfed in operations, you will do operations for your whole life. You will not understand why we are doing it, and what if we don't do it. So what if we don't do it? What is the impact? You understand the business continuity war plan, thing. That is one thing that I want to let you know. You also can, maybe in the armed forces, you may not be able to challenge the status quo, but then have that mindset to challenge the current state, only in case you can improve it to a better state, right? Like when I was posted to a certain part of the world, in a certain part of India, I took the opportunity to enroll in MS. So now, how many of us would think even to enroll in MS sitting in Assam? You may think of an MS sitting in major city, but I took that, thanks to some of my colleagues at the Air Force, we took it together. So, and then we all finished it in time. Uh, the next one is a very interesting one. I mean, I don't know how many people who are in service will agree to it. It's like, no matter how much you are bound by your social media policy, okay, you can still attend webinars, you can still attend meetups, and you can still network with people over a call. Okay, and in all of these things, you are not divulging any of the information that is you're not supposed to divulge. It is your inner, kit that gets you to network people and to learn what is the thinking of the other mind. Otherwise you're in the same vertical, doing the same operations, not knowing why we are doing it, not knowing what if analysis. Okay, and while you do all of this is not specific, pick up a subject that you love. It may be admin, maybe physical security, maybe network security operation, maybe marketing, maybe the current digital SEO. If you're very good at it, maintain a website. It can be your blog of someone in your family. You can still do SEO, right? If you like the subject, obviously. Now the part wherein people who are transitioning, maybe they are in the last 1 year and they are sitting on the fence, thinking about whether to go out or remain inside if they have the option. And for all those people who can go out, this advice is for them. Who are sitting in the fence, they can still ponder over it. An year later, when they are still sitting over the fence, they're still not deciding. They're not decided to move out or stay back. First of all, like I said, network. The second is, do not rely on PRC. I've seen people skipping PRC because they were very well prepared and they thought, investing this much time and money in this PRC is not worth it. I may straight away go ahead, start my own venture, join this particular company, and I have those skills that are sellable in the market, and people are wanting to take me in. So a PRC is not a mandatory thing, but like I said, it gives you a launch pad, prepares you well enough so that you understand how the outside world functions. I call it outside because we live in a cocoon when we're in the armed forces. Don't hang me for it. Okay. Uh, the third one, I would say people who are transitioning opt for a professional resume building service. It doesn't, take a grand. It costs very light on your pocket, but it gives a very special and professional look with the right words in there, so that you can pass through that ATS. Otherwise, the ATS, the application tracking system, will throw you out. You would write, I did this, I was posted there and I hit so many bullets and killed so many enemies. No, boss, we are not here to kill enemies. I am going to look at the balance sheet, how it performs at the end of the year. So be very specific and opt for a professional resume building services. Even if you are someone who wants to change streams, businesses or industry, not being someone who transitioning, but otherwise, a professional resume building service is what one should opt for. And then while you do all of this, you should also scratch. You should also scratch below the surface of the subject that you're mastering. Sometimes I've also interviewed and I also felt it for me. Uh, we try to take up a lot of jargons. We gulp them down our throat and we try to blabber them when a question asked. But then go below the surface and understand the why and what if. Again, I'm coming to the same topic. Have the hold on the subject, and then nobody stops you. The corporate world actually uh, praises the talent that you hold, and praises everyone who possess the right tools and mechanisms to take the company to the next level or innovate and automate. Okay. uh, this is again not a plug, but then I'll have to give it to them because I also joined the forces network run by Colonel Iqbal. And you say whatever, but then they have a community which is very supporting to each other. I may have not directly benefited, but then when I attended one of the seminars by them, I could network with a lot of veterans, and I could know that how many people are sitting in the corporate and are ready to be your mentor, right? And that brings me to the point that one should always seek a mentor, and those mentors can be found at initiatives by people like Preeti, Vivek, and Amit, who take out time on evenings and showcase veterans. I just happen to be their friend and be featured here, but then there are so many people who've been already featured and very lucky to be here and show us in the others and how you can transition safely. They may not promise you a job or something, but then they are doing their bit for the service, and that is why I say follow Preeti Chaudhary, Vivek Chadda, and Colonel Amit. And that's my points for people who are transitioning. And over to you, Preeti. Next one.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I cannot stress enough the importance of the last thing that you said, Arun, my friend. Mentors, mentors, mentors. I think those are the people that can actually make you see what lies inside of you, because all it takes is it's all there inside all of us. But sometimes we are so blinded by so many things happening around us that it is next to impossible to reach within our core. So mentors are some those people that sort of clean out all the dust and the bugs and everything else, and they make you see what actually lies within. So absolutely amazing insights, and those tips and tricks were really spot on, my friend. One other thing is, any regrets at all in the sense of, what if not, so on and so forth. And this is particularly in view of the forces, not anything else in life at the moment.
Uh,
All yours.
I think before I go on to my small sad story, but then I have a very special mention to make up here, and that's a story of grit. That's a story of coming back from what life gave you. Even when you are an MTech from an IIT, you've joined the Air Force, you've gotten to maintain the best of the machines, the aircraft, the fighter aircrafts of the world. And when you take a, I'm just starting with the story. You take a, dip in the swimming pool, which is shallow, and you hit the neck on the floor of the swimming pool. And when you come out, you feel and you see yourself paralyzed down below the neck. And that is the story of my friend Flight Lieutenant Jitendra Singh Bhadoria. You see, now as on date, I'll keep the story short. He's an ex IIM Indore. He's a program manager at Amazon, and this has happened. The first time he got paralyzed was in 2000, if I remember correctly, 12. All those years, I have seen him struggling with even to type a simple message. But then now this guy, he really inspires me, and I see his when I speak to him, and he calls me up when he lands up in Delhi, and then we meet up several times. But then, and he was only 1 month into the marriage when this incident happened. Through this medium, I want to just salute Jitendra Singh Bhadoria, my friend, my course mate, and you inspire the whole of our course, and a lot of people that look up to you. Now coming to the any regrets that you asked. Frankly speaking, uh, I do not have any regrets. I speak to a lot of people who may have some regrets in terms of not being able to continue in service. Given a chance that Given a chance there was an option, I would have thought about it. Maybe I was very well prepared through my mind to transition out of service, but there was no choice. Given a choice, had it been there, I would have thought about it once. And the way I was contributing, I think even anyone would think of continuing and serving the country for a lifetime. Uh, so that was one small regret, but then yeah, I am still happy, and I miss the blues. And I like the blue color at your background. Okay.
And
That's
this
why I'm
is
wearing a
especially for
blue
you,
shirt.
my dear
Yeah,
friend. I know because remember that last the day that you hung your uniform and you put your picture in the blues and in that full your Air Force attire, and that was a smashing thing to do. Do you remember that, Arun?
yes, yes.
Right? Yeah.
That
So
was
I
that
did
was the
notice.
only post that crossed 4,000 likes.
Yeah. So that was something which was like it totally. I can understand where you're coming from and what you're saying to me
Yes,
right now. The love for the
correct.
blues, the uniform, and all of that. Given half the chance, you would be there for life. But such is life that it was not meant to be for you. Which brings
Right.
me to a question, and this is by Darshan Mohan Talk. This is very specific. I know how to make malicious scripts. Is this part of
Wow.
cyber security?
Right, Darshani, if you're there, it is absolutely part of cybersecurity, but I think you are on the wrong side of it. It is about offensive cybersecurity. Use it to help people who want to be protected from malicious scripts.
In continuation, he has, if not, can you please brief about this career?
I said yes, it is.
Okay. And let us see. Oh, lots and lots of comments. Partners of Assam says,
Sabhadra.
Shalbhadra. Then Sanjeev says, yeah, Sobhadra, that's right. And Sanjeev says, sounds very nostalgic. This is all through coming in, right from the beginning. So, people, now is your turn. We've been saying if there are any questions, any comments have been galore. If you have any questions for my dear friend here, we are just about 10 minutes away from the close of this session. You ask them now. In the meantime, Arun, tell us a little bit more about what you are doing currently. Where are you working? And only as much as is admissible by the terms and conditions that you're governed with, where you're working now. Because I know what you're doing. I definitely would like the audience to know because, like I said before, this is away from the norm. So please tell us.
Uh, okay, so keep within the boundaries. I'll start telling you what I do. Uh, if you relate to logging into banking sites and you see those image and phrases, that's a technology. And in my operations, we look after that technology. That is one. It is the simplest form where you can understand what I do. Professionally, we provide cybersecurity operations to customers who outsource it to people who are better at it. So we
And
protect
currently,
cybersecurity. Yeah, currently, I am employed with one of the oldest, I mean, more than 100 years old group, wherein I look after the security operations center and the cyber threat and vulnerability management. Uh, we together defend people against malicious scripts. The Darshan, guys
That's
like
right.
Darshan, malicious scripts. We tell people that the traffic that is flowing within your network is malicious or not. We give some threat intelligence around that, how it behaves, and how you can be proactive. People who are very interested in knowing what I do at the day-to-day operations, you can absolutely go back to a webinar that I did for next gen soft monitoring. That's in my profile, and it will give you a lot of details on what I consult on, what I tell people to do, what I tell people not to do. That's my day job.
Right, and you know what? With that, something just triggered my memory as well. So, audience, please reach out to Arun via LinkedIn. Please do not be lazy and just hit connection request. Write a personalized note. Reference the live session today where he spoke about all these wonderful things that have, I'm sure, probably inspired you. Reach out to him and dive deeper into anything cybersecurity, anything radar, anything Air Force, anything driving, traveling, and any of that. Okay, so please write out a note, reach out to him. He's more than happy to connect with you and talk to you. Whether it is veterans, whether they are students, anybody in career transition, Arun has tips and tricks for all and everybody involved. Now, before we close the session, my dear friend, from me, tell us two or three things that a veteran in transition should not do, and two or three things that they should do. The should not first, because those are the most important things that we need to keep in mind, and the must later. So, with that, then we will close this session. But first, those two or three things not to do in transition, and two or three things to do in transition. Over to you. Thank you.
That's very, I mean, difficult right off the mind. But I think the first thing that I straight away recommend to everyone who's thinking of transition, I say, do not be a jack of all trades. You might be already jack of all, but then out of all of those trades, pick one and master it. Do not be the jack of all trades, because they don't work at this side of the world. They might work anywhere else, uh, but then do not be jack of all trades. That's one. The second is loosen up, a little bit. That's on the what to do. Loosen up a little bit, in the sense that the world may not work as the way it worked previously. When you issue an instruction and straight away things were aligned, it may not happen. You'll have to, for the first 6 months, you'll have to prove your worth. People will start listening to you when they know you have that talent. Okay. Now coming to what not to do. Okay. Uh, do not think that everything is easy. If you see a particular vertical, a profession, let's say you get inspired by marketing as on date, and you say, this is something I can do, but you do your analysis as to how much time and money you have to spend in that profession. What is going to be the ROI for after you spend that time and money on them? So first of all, work on your strengths and get a profession in your strength. That's the do part of it. So you work on your strengths, and then only get into a job or a business or something. So once you do that, establish yourself. If you like it, continue. But if you're still thinking about your passion, start building up on your passion separately, parallelly, so that you have a cover. Uh, Sometimes people who transition, they also have some financial responsibility. So I'm speaking from that angle. Thankfully, I did not have any, but then still, I was backed by people say that in my house I was a short service commissioned officer, but my wife was a permanent commissioned officer of the government. So I mean, I have a backing from her, and she continues to support me that way. What not to do is not to be choosy about the place you want to start working. So if you very fond of your hometown, or you are very fond of a particular place that you want to work in, let's not be restrictive. You never know that your next opportunity might be there in New York City. So what will happen to your fondness of the hometown? So will you go let go of it? So that's a call that you have to take. Let's be free in choosing the place and the opportunity. The other thing that I want to tell people not to do is, sometimes we expect a lot in terms of, you know, uh, like a certain course mate would have got maybe double your package, you know, and then maybe 1 year down the line, he may or may not be happy in that place. So the bottom line is, if you're happy in a place and you're getting decent income, be happy. Do not spoil that happiness. So don't do that. Don't run after money. Money will come when you have the skills. You will be wanted. People will hunt you down and take you in your company if you have the subject matter expertise and the skills required. Now,
Very
to
well
do
said. Yep.
one last thing, what to
Okay.
do. So
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you spend,
absolutely.
I know today. So after you spend about 1 year in the profession, analyze again. Is this what I always wanted to do? Or is this what, this is my passion or not? Is my passion and skill matching? Very good. Bingo. You are there. You're going to make it. But if your passion and skill, there's a mismatch and you think, I wanted to be an artist, start exploring the artist culture and, start meeting up there. Build that function, continue here and then transition again. That's all.
Arun, this I can only expect from you, total logical, step by step. Uh, the way I know you, you're like everything has to be one after the other. One, two, three, four. It can't be 1, 7, 3, 5, 10, 15. It has to go in logical order. So,
Then
hats
you're
off,
all
my
over
dear
the
friend.
place.
I
Thank
know.
you. Thank you.
Hats off for that.
Thank you.
But amazing insights, my dear friend. It has been an extremely electric evening. So it's time to say our byes, and so we say a very hearty thanks to all the audience that has been here today. Spent amazing 60 minutes of your evening, Monday evening, with us, listening to Arun, the amazing insights. Thank you to Echo Events for streaming the Veteran Spotlight with Arun and me here today. Once again, Veteran Spotlight is on every Monday night at 9 p.m. All the back episodes are available in the featured section of my profile. Today's episode as well will be available for a rerun after we finish here. So, with that, this is Preeti Chaudhary, your host for Veteran Spotlight, signing off with my guest and dear friend, Squadron Leader Arun Kumar, retired. Until next time, please stay safe, stay well, and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind, everyone. Thanks for joining.